Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask a Family Specialist. My name is Bethany and I'm a certified child and family specialist here at Crayons to Confidence. I have 2 degrees in child and family development and early childhood education. I have research published in social and emotional development. I've spoken at numerous childhood mental and emotional health conferences, and today I'm here to talk to you about how to choose the right daycare. Our question today comes from Megan. Megan says, "My husband and I have made the decision for me to go back to work after being a stay-at-home mom for almost 6 years. My oldest is in school now, but my youngest just turned 3 and will need to be put into daycare. I'm super protective of my kid's care, probably even a little too much, but I want him to go to a great center that will treat him well and ease my worries. What should I be looking for?" This is a hard question to answer, Megan, because everyone's values are a little bit different. However, there are 2 pretty universal things that I constantly recommend whenever people start touring daycares. The first is to tour the daycare midday so you can see what the environment is really like every day throughout the day. The second is to carry a list of 20 questions that we have compiled explicitly for parents who are researching and touring daycares. In this video, we will review those 20 questions in depth so you understand why that question needs to be asked and what information you can glean from it. The first question to ask is, what is your child care philosophy? What goals, beliefs, and values does this center have regarding children? And do they align with your own goals, beliefs, and values that you have for your kids? Do they value play, self-paced learning, social interaction, schedule and routine? What ideas are core to the experience that your child is promised each day? Our second question comes in 2 parts. The first part is how many kids attend this center, and the second part is what is the room ratio. The room ratio is the number of teachers that are available for every student. For example, if your child's room has a 1-to-4 room ratio, that means there has to be 1 adult for every 4 children that are present in that room. So for example, if a room has 12 children, they have to have 3 adults. Asking these questions will help you to determine, are there too many children in this environment? Will your child have the care and the attention that they need from the adults in the room? But it will also tell you if there are not enough children in the room. You want to make sure that your child won't struggle to have opportunities to make friends, develop social interaction, and communication skills. Does this daycare serve a diverse population of families, or will your child be surrounded by people just like them? Neither one is inherently wrong, but you need to know what you're on the lookout for. Question 3. What are your rules, policies, and schedules for meals and snacks? And how will any allergies or intolerances be handled? It's helpful to know how daycares handle nutrition in general. Be sure to ask how many meals and snacks will be served each day so that you can plan around the daycare schedule to ensure that your child will always be hungry enough to eat whenever it's time. You'll also want to ask some specifics about these meals. Is the meal included in the tuition that you're already paying? Does the meal incorporate foods that you know your child can and will eat? Or should you pack a separate meal for your child each day? If so, is that allowed? Is there some sort of cafeteria or kitchen schedule that you can adhere to? What if another child in your child's classroom has a food allergy or a food intolerance? What items do you need to avoid packing? Question 4. What does a usual day at this daycare look like? How busy will your child be each day? And what kinds of things can you anticipate them doing? Is there a structured routine in place? Or is it all free play and go with the flow? Again, neither one is inherently wrong, but you need to know what it is that you are on the lookout for. What social activities are included? What educational activities are planned? Will your child be bored? Or is the daycare lively enough to keep your child energized and engaged the entire day? Question 5. What is your discipline philosophy? Is this daycare authoritative, authoritarian, permissive? If you don't know what those things are, give them a quick Google and see what they say when you ask this question. Do they value gentle parenting practices, or do they operate on a very reactive approach? Are consequences implemented for children who don't follow the rules? Are rewards given to children who do follow the rules? If so, what do these rewards and consequences look like? What do they entail? Question 6. My child has a specific need in blank. How will your center accommodate for this? As we all know, children are not standardized. Your child may have a very specific medical or developmental need. They might have a severe health concern or a disability of some sort. As much as we all want to say that we are prepared for those situations, some daycare centers are simply not equipped to handle those types of scenarios. If your child needs help in a specific area and your daycare is not able to accommodate for that, it's better to know now than in the event of an emergency. Question 7. What is your visitation policy? Is there a strict attendance rule, or can your child come and go as they please? Are parents encouraged to stay or encouraged to leave throughout the day? When and how often are parents encouraged to visit? Are there any events or holiday parties that they encourage families to join them for? You don't want to be present so often that you're in your child's way, but at the same time, you want to make sure that the daycare is open to sharing certain experiences along with the other members of the family. Question 8. What immunizations or healthcare updates are required for this center? Is your child up to date on all of the shots and immunizations that the daycare center requires? If not, are you okay with these requirements? Are you willing to book a doctor's appointment to go make sure that they get those things before they enroll? If not, you'll probably have to find another center. Question 9. What is your potty training procedure and schedule? If your child is at or below the age of potty training, it's really important to at least understand the way that your daycare center will handle that transition. What supplies will be provided by the center, and what things will you need to send with your child each day? If your child is already potty trained, how will it be handled in the event of an accident? What is the potty schedule? So you can start adhering your child's brain and body to that schedule before they enroll. What is the potty schedule? So that you can start adapting your child's body and their expectations to the center's schedule before they enroll. Question 10. How much is tuition and what all does it cover? Are there any additional add-ons or fees that you need to be made aware of? How much will you pay for your child to attend this facility? How many days does this cover? And what times will your child be allowed to attend for this rate? Does the tuition rate include food, nap supplies, diapers, toys? Or will those items need to be sent and provided by you? If certain items need to be purchased separately and sent with your child, do you have to send them with your child each day? Or is there some kind of cubby or storage facility that you could keep bulk at the daycare center? Question 11. What transportation options does my child have to and from this facility? Is there some kind of bus or shuttle that will run for children? If so, does it have proper care for young children in car seats, especially infants who still are riding backwards? Is there parking accessible for parents who are dropping their children off in cars? Is there a loading and drop-off procedure, or do you get to walk your child in each day? If your child will arrive in some kind of stroller or car seat, can you leave those items at the center, or will you have to break them down and carry them with you throughout the day? Question 12. What are your sanitization procedures and requirements? This is a question that got pretty common during the COVID-19 pandemic, but it has been a question that parents should be asking since the beginning of time. Daycares are simply a breeding ground for germs, okay? It's inevitable that your child's going to get sick. But still, proper cleaning procedures should definitely be in place. It's worth asking if there's some kind of janitorial staff that is available throughout the day or after hours. If there's not a janitorial staff, who cleans the facility? When do they do it? How often do they do it? To what extent do they do it? Knowing these procedures can help you determine just how clean and safe of an environment this really is for your child. Question 13. What if my child gets sick? What are your attendance policy? Every daycare center is going to have a list of symptoms, and if your child is exhibiting the symptoms on that list, they're not going to be able to come that day. Some daycare centers won't allow children if they have been vomiting in the last 24 hours, if they have a sore throat, if they have a fever. It's important for you to know what that list is so that you know whether or not your child will be required to stay home. And if they are required to stay home, how long do they have to do so before returning to the center? Also be aware that some centers require a doctor's note or some kind of clearance letter when they come back to school, so make sure you have that in hand. Question 14. What qualifications and certifications are required by your staff? Be aware that most daycare centers are probably not going to have master's level employees, but you do need to make sure that your center hires some qualified caregivers. Is your child's daycare teacher licensed or certified in anything specific? Do they have college degrees? Are they CPR certified? What training has been provided to them? And what experience have they had with children in the past? I would be surprised if your daycare center didn't require some sort of fingerprinting and background check, so you know that that's good and out of the way. But it's worth noting what kind of specific child development requirements each one of the teachers in the facility has. Question 15. What is your caregiver turnover rate? Some daycare centers have a wonderfully consistent staff, but others will have a revolving door of caregivers. Consistency is really important in early childhood, especially for your child to start forming healthy attachments to caregivers. And they can't do that if those caregivers aren't consistent. So it's worth noting what this turnover rate is like at your center. Question 16. What medical care is available to my child in the event of an emergency? Who will be contacted, and what procedures are in place? Emergency protocol in daycares is no joke. What if your child chokes, has an allergic reaction, falls off the top of the playground slide and breaks their arm? Stuff like this happens, and it's not necessarily the daycare's fault. It's not like your child was being neglected just for having these sorts of accidents. But it's worth noting what will be done in these situations. Who will be contacted? Who will they call first? Is there some sort of medical form that you have turned in with all of your insurance information, with your doctor's information that they are operating off of? How quickly will your child get the care that they need, and how quickly will you be alerted about it? Question 17. What does parent communication look like at this facility? How will you stay up to date, and what information about the daycare center do you have access to? Does this daycare allow you to text your child care providers? Does it allow you to call them, email them? How will you get in contact with them in the event of an emergency? Is there an app that you can download to stay up to date? Is there a way to communicate with the other parents in your child's classroom? Does the daycare center have cameras for you to see into your child's room? Some things might be more important to you than others, so make sure whatever you are requiring, your daycare center can provide. Question 18. What security protocols are in place? How will the daycare know who is allowed to pick up your child each day and who isn't? How do they keep out external parents and people who don't belong in this childcare facility? What will happen in the event of an intruder? Most daycares serve populations that are too young to do a traditional intruder drill like we would think of in school. If an intruder was to enter, what is the policy for the infant room with a room full of babies? What's the policy for the toddler room, the preschool room? As per usual, intruders in these kinds of facilities are very unlikely, but it's important that your daycare has at least thought about the plan that they will implement if that ever happens. Question 19. Is this daycare center licensed and accredited? What certifications and approvals do you have? Be sure to include both of those words, licensed and accredited. Most of the time, there is a dual certification for both, but those are technically different things, and it's important that your center has both of them. You can ask them this outright, or you can just take a look at the wall. Most of the time, a safe center will have its licenses and its accreditation on the wall for everyone to see, likely in the front office. There should also be some sort of health code poster somewhere in each room. But if it's not on the wall for everyone to see, don't panic. New centers especially just might not have gotten around to hanging them up yet. You can always ask the staff in the front office to provide you with official documentation. And lastly, question 20. Do you have any previous families or references that I could contact? Daycares are not really like employees, so their list of references might be a little bit slim. Most people don't think to ask this question, so it's unlikely that your daycare is going to be prepared for it. Even still, you can likely check the reviews of the daycare center online and ask if they have any current or former families who would be willing to speak with you about their experience there. As with any school and classroom, there's going to be some high flyers. Parents who are very plugged into the daycare facility, who are constantly forming engagement and interaction with the people in the front office. And that doesn't have to be you, but those people are the perfect people to get a phone number for to ask about their experience. They can also answer any questions that the people in the front office might not be able to answer. Getting caregiver input is important, but getting family input is important as well. Like I said, everyone's values are a little bit different, but at least asking these questions can help you get an idea of just how thorough this daycare center really is. Before you head out to your tour, I recommend you make a list out of all of these questions, out of everything that we've talked about. What things are most important to you? What things are non-negotiable? Things that you have to have? What things would be nice to have, but it's not a deal breaker? What things do you not care about at all? And if the daycare doesn't have them, you just forget about it. Knowing what's most important to you in rank as you are looking for these daycare facilities can help you rank them after you tour a few. Get the information you need at the tour, come back home and compile notes, and then decide with your parenting partner which daycare facility is best for your children. If you'd like more information and assistance on choosing a local daycare in your area, visit www.crayonstoconfidence.com. As a member, you get free on-call access to a child and family specialist who will meet with you and answer any questions that you might have. We can also help connect you to certain centers and resources that are available to you in your local area. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you know when the next question's been answered. I'll see you next time.